Hey everybody, welcome back to class. Mark Price here with devslopes.com, and today we are going to build a lead capture form, just the UI, on our webpage. And we're going to use the lead form that we've already built. So if you haven't done that yet, go ahead and do that video first. Otherwise, you can go on to github.com/devslopes and grab it from there. But that's what we're going to be doing today, and it's going to be pretty fun. We're going to show the power of reusability with React. So, and this is how you're going to do it in lots of projects. Drag and drop things in. So I'm going to go find my product shop. So cd desktop, cd product shop. Okay, and I'm going to load this up here in Atom. Okay, and there we have it. Looks good. This is what we did last time. Okay. And so we're also going to need the code from the lead capture form. So wherever you've stored that, or go onto GitHub /devslopes and grab it from there in the React course. Let's go ahead and grab that now. So I've got mine on my desktop somewhere in the React course, and forms in React, source, components, and I've got these three right here. So what I'm going to do is just open up this file system here of my current project, and we're going to go into source, components, and that's nav, and let's go ahead and call this one forms, just in case we have more than one. Who knows? Just let's do some good cleanup here. So I'm going to copy it from the other project and put it here into this project. So there's our lead capture form. Very cool. So what do we want to do? What I want to do is I want to have a lead capture form, first off, that looks a little bit nicer. I think we're going to modify it a little bit, but I also want it to show up on every single screen because I want those leads. I don't want it to navigate away. So let's figure out how to get it in our base page. And so that's what we're going to be doing this time around. So let's first and foremost get our terminal up and going. I'm going to turn on my node here. And what we're going to do is npm start, just make sure everything compiles correctly. And there we go, 4.6 seconds, sheesh. All right, and then let's go ahead and Command T. I got to turn on my node again here. I'm just creating a new terminal window, okay? And then I want to load the HTTP-server, which you should do as well too. I just want to make sure everything's working before we get started coding here. HTTP server --p, and let's say 8989. There we go. I'm going to copy this here, pull open a browser, and just make sure our website's working. Home, iOS course, React course, great. Links work. So this is what we've already built, and it looks like it's working just fine. So let's get to work here. So we want to get a lead capture form on every page. So that indicates to me that I probably want to put it here in my base page somewhere. Okay, somewhere over here, because this .props.children is where the views are going to get swapped in and out. So I'm thinking we're going to need some bootstrap here. So let's do some bootstrap. So the nav bar should be at the top, so I'm going to leave that as it is. But everything else in the page, even the main pages themselves, we should put them inside of a bootstrap container. So I'm going to say div class name equals container. And what the container does with bootstrap is it just keeps everything at about 1200 pixels in the center of the screen. I'm going to end the div there. So what I'm doing is even the whole entire pages are going to fit inside this container. And this is how you should do it. If you have a main page, any type of bounds or limits that you want all pages to go within should be done here, because this is kind of the boss. All right. And so what I want to do is on the right hand side is where I want the lead capture, and then the left hand side is where I want the everything else. And so I think I'm going to create a row here. Div class name equals row. Okay, and let's get this. Well, we'll end the row here. I'll copy and paste some things. So there's our row, and of course we want columns inside of the rows. So the idea is the main page, this .props.children, or all the pages, occupy a certain portion of the screen. So I'm going to say div class name equals call-sm-9. So I'm just kind of doing a gut feel here. What I'm saying is, using the bootstrap classes, I kind of want the main pages, like the main content, to take up about 9, which leaves us 3 for the right-hand side, which is what I think I want to do. So I'm going to Command X this .props.children and put it in the 9. And then for the 3, this is where we'll put the lead capture, call-sm-3. All right. And so let's go ahead and import that lead capture now. Var lead capture equals, and we are in base page, so we need to go into the forms folder. So require./forms/ and let's just make sure we get the exact spelling correctly here. And we're going to say lead capture.jsx. Okay. There we go. And so I'm going to put that right into here. Now, I know I need to install a package somewhere because I believe my email field uses, it uses a package here. And we would have gotten an error if I had started to run this. So let's just go ahead and get that package installed now. So let's, in fact, there's the error right there, email validator. So let's go ahead and Command T for a new tab. I'm going to turn on my node here. And what I'm going to do is npm install -- save email validator. Okay. If you're wondering how I remembered the name of the package, well, when you require a package, it actually is the exact same name that you require in as you would spell here in your terminal. So that's how I know. Okay. It's doing its thing, and there it is. It is in there. And let's go back to our compiler, and it did compile this time. So what I'd like to do is just refresh and see what it looks like right away. Okay. So clearly we've got some problems. Okay. And obviously our lead capture form is very small. So let's go take a look at it. Okay. So I already know what the problem is just by looking at it. So on my base page, I said, hey, I want a column of 3 to be my lead capture. But over here in the lead capture, I also said it's going to be a column of 3. So this leads me to think that maybe I shouldn't be explicitly putting column sizes on my components themselves, which is true. We did this for sake of convenience and being easy, but when you're designing your application, what you should really do is have your main page, or excuse me, your base page, or whatever is the parent container. That is what should be determining the overall sizes of sections, okay? Because how it works is a component or any type of element in Bootstrap, it'll expand the entire width of the screen, but it will also expand the entire width of a column. So we don't even have to worry about putting sizes on our components here as far as like if they're taking up a portion of the page, because the parent container will manage it for your component automatically. If that makes any sense. You'll still use columns and rows in your components, but the outmost components or excuse me, the outmost columns, okay, how big you want it, that should be determined by the parent. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, in my lead capture here, I'm actually going to get rid of that column where I'm saying call SM3. I'm just going to get rid of that and see what happens. And we'll refresh the page. So now it's coming together a little bit better. So we've got our lead capture over here, and notice how it's within the container, which is just right. So it's starting to look good. A few things though that I think I want to modify before we start tying it up to a service on the back end is, when you submit it, I want something to say success, like I've successfully submitted. I also don't like the fact that this thing's hugging the top right here. I don't like it at all. So I want to modify that a little bit as well too. And I also want to put kind of a header in here that says what this is for. So let's do that as well too. So here in the lead capture, what I want to do is I want to make this into a panel. Okay. And well, it already is a panel. What I want to do is a panel heading. That's what I meant to say. So there's our panel. So let's say div class name equals panel-heading. Okay. And let's end that div here. And yeah, I'm going to shift tab these guys here. Actually, no, that looks good. I think bring these guys in a little bit more. There we go. That makes more sense. And let's just put a title in here. Now we could have done this dynamically, but for right now, I'm just going to hard code this title in. Get free ebook. And let's end that H4. And I want to make sure that works. By the way, panel heading is a Bootstrap class for a panel. We're just giving it a heading. And there it is, nice and shaded. Didn't even have to write any CSS, right? That's the beauty of Bootstrap for you. So get free ebook. And of course, let's make sure everything else is working. Mark, okay. And mark at mark.com. And that looks like it's working. If it's red and I click submit, what happens? You suck at filling out forms. That's still working. That's good to know. Let's make sure it's successful here. So when I click submit, it clears it out, but it doesn't tell me if I was successful or not. And I don't like that. That is not a great user experience. It's an okay one, but it's not a great one. So where would we put that? So we got a name field, we got a BR, we got an email field. So what I'm thinking is on the right-hand side of the button. Okay, and so if we're gonna do that, we're gonna need to have a row and some columns in here so we can properly align things. So I'm gonna say class name equals row. Put that div there, and I'm gonna put a column here. So div class name equals call-sm-6. I'm guessing about 6 wide should be just fine for the button itself. And then we'll make a smaller one for the success text. So I'm going to cut this button and put it here in the 6. And if you're wondering why I'm using SM and not putting all the other sizes is because if you just do it for one of the smaller sizes, it'll pretty much apply the same across the board. And I don't care about the fine-tune styling right now. This class and course isn't completely about styling and things like that. I don't want to dive too deep into that because that would become a CSS course or something. So, or design course. Although we could do that sometime, that'd be fun. So class name equals call-sm-2. So I think the success text should be about 2. And so let's go ahead and say h5 style, not style, excuse me, nothing else, I guess, success. Okay. Let's see how it looks, or if it's even working. Refresh the page. Hey, it says success. That's great. Although, do we want it there right from the get-go? No. So we're going to have to write some code here. And that's good, though. That's the power of React. So let's do that now. So the idea is if you successfully submit the form, I want it to say success. It's going to clear out, well, it's already clearing out the data. So that's probably where we should set the success thing. So we also know that we're probably going to need to have some type of state to know if it was submitted or not. So we can do that as well, too. So let's go over here, and we do not have a get initial state. So let's do that here. Get initial state. Okay. Like so. And we're going to return an object, and the key that we're going to use is called submitted, and by default it's going to be false. Okay. So initial state submitted is false, and then probably down here is where we're going to set the state to true. So if we got here, it means that it was an error. If we got here, it means that we successfully submitted because we're clearing out the form. So I can say this dot set state, and let's say submitted to true. And the last thing we probably need to do to get this working is just have a style that's based conditionally on whether the state is set. And by the way, this is how you do it with React. I'm not doing any, this isn't just one man's interpretation, though it could be done different ways. This is pretty much the most common way in working with React components is writing code like this. So what we're going to do here in the render function is just create a style. So var, we'll call this success style, lots of S's there. And first off, I want the color to be green. Okay. And then how do we work the visibility of it? Well, if you're familiar with CSS, there is a property called visibility. Okay, you can do visible or hidden and it will hide the element. And so that's what we want to toggle here. So visible, it's one of those words, you got to spell it out there. Visibility. And we're going to do a ternary operation just to save some code space here, make it easier. So the visibility is going to be based on the state of the submitted. So this.state.submitted question mark. So this is ternary. So what we're saying is, hey, if submitted is true, then make it be visible. Otherwise, make it be hidden. Okay. So again, if this.state.submitted is true, the visibility will receive this visible. Otherwise, visibility will receive hidden. And then so all we have to do now is here in our H5 is just set a style. Style equals success style. So this will automatically change and update based on the state. And I think that's all we need to do. Let's refresh the page and see. So first name is Mark, of course, and email is mark@mark.com. And let's see what happens. So also notice how the it's not there right now. So our get initial state is definitely working. and let's click submit. Hey, and there it is. So, of course, ours is very simplistic. You know, you could have had all of these been hidden, implemented something else there, you know, more text, whatever you want it to do. Ours is very simple, but it just says success. But I hope you can see where we're going with this. I showed you the base principle. You can expand on it. All right, so that looks good. I don't like the fact that this or this is like bleeding up to the top up here of our nav bar. So let's fix that too. I'm gonna go into the, what is it, base page? I think that's right. And what I wanna do is probably on the container, set some type of padding. So anything that, so meaning the container has padding from the top of the page or the top of this nav bar. I just don't like how it's so close. So I'm just gonna create a quick style here. And you'll know that me personally, I try my best not to have to do lots of CSS. Again, there's a debate on this, but I come from a world of object-oriented programming and modules and components, which I feel is the way the future of web development is going in components. One day, when you're doing web development, everything's just going to be consolidated into these little components, styling everything, and we're getting closer here. So that's why I like to do it here as much as possible, keep them as modularized as possible, so I don't have to also switch back and forth between the CSS file. So you don't have to put the PX with React. It knows what to do. So there's our style object. And all I'm going to do here is right here on the container, okay, we'll just say style equals style and padding top. That's all. So if I refresh my page, we should see spacer here now. Or it should break. That's what I meant. It was going to break. Okay, so base page, line 22. I almost said chapter 2 verse 8, like where we're reading some scriptures or something here. Let's take a look at this here. Style equals var style equals, oh, I put it in the wrong spot, ladies and gentlemen. It needs to go in the render function, not in the object. Silly me. Okay. Sometimes it's hard to see where something ends and something begins. There we go. Let's refresh the page. There, now there's that padding on both of these. So it's doing what we want it to do. And again, you know, if I try and submit it with wrong stuff, it still does what it's supposed to do. I'm just running some quick tests. So, you know, this is Joe Bob, and his email is joebob@bobbylou.com. And if I submit it, we have success. So we're just getting our UI correctly set up. In the next video, we're actually going to get this turning into a real lead capture form, which would be pretty cool. So that's it for now. Mark Price at devslopes.com, moving on and forward. And remember to get your free live help, go to devslopes.com and click on chat room. I'm there all the time, as well as a huge community of other students.